So as I said, here's the bonnet, ute say, and a whole bunch of side panels of the Polaris Ranger EV. And here's the motor, driving the gearbox for four-wheel drive. Got your contactor in there, a whole bunch of other 48 volts coming off there. You have your controller back in here, and your 8 series 12 volt deep cycle lead acid sealed battery, or not sealed, sorry, with a watering system to drive shaft and general 4x4 stuff there. And I've just cut off all the wires to the tray and added in some standard motorcycle connectors here, because this is really difficult to get to when the tray's up. So I've done that, and these are all the phase wires going into the motor, etc. Stuff like that. So from the side, we're looking at all these batteries. So they'll take up just as much room in a lithium polymer, but they are about twice the capacity. These are 300 amp hours, the one's going in 100 amp hour times 4, so 400 amp hour. But with depth of discharge and the bonuses of lithium, we will be doubling the active usable voltage of the vehicle. So in here, we've got the standard sort of seating arrangement, batteries under the seats, distribute the weight, and we have this area here, which where I'm going to be mounting all the batteries and battery monitors and switches for four-wheel drive, forward and reverse, high and low range, four-wheel drive, normal or one-wheel drive, lights, battery warning light, and this is the turning the power on for different 12 volt applications. That was for the front wiring. You have a GPS speedo added by the owner, and this is the horn button. The horn button broke when I looked at it to do the conversion, so I replaced that so the horn would work. This is the original battery monitor, which I may replace with the hardcore kilometer style thing. So it actually gives us a lot more information about usable watts and what we're using and stuff like that. So from the get-go, this is the sort of vehicle, a little bit more naked, and you can get to and see things. Left-hand drive, obviously, for the US market, being Polaris. It's quite a comfortable sort of position to be driving in, and makes some farm and rural activities easier, being able to grab stuff on this side. Whereas most of the tooling is set up for the other side, unfortunately. So here we have a bit of a nest of wires, let's call it. Additions and modifications that the owner has done to make it more useful. I had this relay last time to make the horn actually do more than a weird squeaky sound. So coming across, we've got the fuse box up here. I believe this is the main control unit for the switching gear. Here's your DC, which is Sevcon. But it's only active when powered. So when the contactor is on, it'll be active, which means it's got a high inrush current, which is probably okay for the DC, but I'm swapping this out for one that has a switch circuit, so it'll be switching on separately via a double switching ignition and separate switch. This is the Delta Q charger for the lead acid batteries. This is quite common in, say, 10 years ago. It's quite an efficient charger, but we're deleting that just because it hooked into the system, which just doesn't need to have happen anymore. So we're going to delete that. And this new charger will be running off of a CAN bus with a controller and be more active. And also, not really liking this charging cable just hanging in the wheel arch area originally. I don't believe that would have been the case. It would have been held up somewhere a little bit better, but still very slack scenario.